friends, Pory here, in bear form. In the 90s there were some book series that were all the rage. Of course there was Goosebumps. Those were great. But after that the big thing was Animorphs. It ran through the late 90s and there's over 50 of those books. And even a live action television series that aired on Nickelodeon. I read some of them as a kid. And all I really remember is that I did enjoy them. I don't really remember anything else because it's been about 20 years since I've read one. I just remember the iconic book covers that are sort of a meme these days. But how can you blame people with imagery like this? So naturally there were video games based on this short-lived phenomenon. Today we're going to take a look at the home console ones. To start off, we have Animorphs on the Game Boy Color. It's not like the Game Boy Color is polluted with tons of shovelware or anything, so there's no way this could be bad, right? Oh boy. Here we go. Animorphs for the Game Boy Color was released in 2000 by Ubisoft, which is kind of funnier the more I think about it. And it was developed by Runny Fun. Gee, I wonder why they didn't become huge after this. The game starts with a story about Yerks and aliens and whatever else. And it asks, are you ready to become an Animorph? Well, yeah, I guess. You start off in a house, and it immediately becomes very obvious that you're playing a game that strongly resembles Pokemon. In fact, that's what this game is. It's a blatant ripoff of Pokemon. But instead of Pokemon, you capture morphing abilities by fighting animals. You play as the character Cassie, presumably from the books. I haven't read them in like 20 years, so I don't remember. And you start by picking a fight with a mouse. To start, your morph ability is just a dog for now, but then you just pick up more along the way. Cassie morphs dog. Great start for a game that's based on a book that helped a lot of kids get into reading back in the day. So you morph dog, and basically you just attack the enemy until it's knocked out, and then it automatically joins your party. It's pretty simple, and there's really no skill or strategy behind it. Sometimes your attack misses, but aside from that, it's just button mashing. You can literally just mash the A button and finish a match in mere seconds. As you start, you go to the pet store and you catch more animal abilities on the way, like a goat. And man, when she morphs goat, that's terrifying to look at. Sometimes you randomly encounter an alien. They're a little tougher than the animals, but it's just a lot of luck, pretty much. When an animal form is knocked out, you lose it permanently, but getting them back is pretty easy because they just respawn. Also, if you demorph when the game doesn't want you to for whatever reason, it activates the game over. I don't understand that. Oh, and there's no save feature, just passwords. Very long passwords. That's exactly what I want to do with my RPG, if you want to call it that. And the passwords are like long, which I guess makes sense considering it's not just like a simple like platformer or anything. The pet store I mentioned previously is in the mall, and it's pretty easy to get to. And there's plenty of pedestrians around town. They all say one of maybe 3 of the same useless things like, "It's a beautiful day," or "I'm going to the sharing tonight." Thanks for telling me. At least the pet store in the mall has a bunch of stronger animals that you can gain the abilities from, like monkeys and a skunk. At the end of the mall, you battle a snake, which is crucial for advancement because you need the snakes to get through a crack in the wall. Because the jerk at the entrance of the zoo won't let you through, you have to sneak in the back. And Cassie doesn't really have the willpower to morph Monkey and kill him so she can get in. At least in the zoo you can acquire new animals like elephants. At that point I was pretty much stuck, and with a cryptic game like this I just didn't have the patience or time to go further. So I think I'm going to move on to the next game. At least that one's not so silly to figure out. Animorphs on the Game Boy Color. It's a bad egg, no question about it. At least with other games that ripped off Pokemon blatantly, they had some sort of redeeming qualities to them. While certainly not amazing themselves, they're at least better than this game. I honestly can't recommend this game to anyone unless you find it crazy cheap and like to laugh at the awful job. Thankfully, we have a second Animorphs game. It was released a little bit before the Game Boy Color one, but it's for the PlayStation, so maybe it was made with higher standards in mind. Anyways, here's Animorphs: Shattered Reality. Here we go. This game was published by Infogrames as opposed to Ubisoft, and the intro is an okay looking video sequence in space. It looks a lot more promising than the first one, and oh my god, what am I watching?
Turning them into helpless slaves.
Now, this game is a lot more linear, and you can choose between 4 characters. They're all generally the same, but they morph into different animals. Rachel's the best, though, because she morphs into a bear, just like me. The game is pretty straightforward. It's just a platformer, and it controls well for the most part. You can tell this game was created with Crash Bandicoot in mind, and with that they handled it better than the portable version did with its inspiration. As you go through, there's random very short segments where you'll transform and fight an enemy or two. Fighting in animal form is honestly pretty lousy and the hit detection's weird. But at least it's very short-lived most of the time, so it's whatever. Platforming starts off easy enough, but this game gets really tough. And the platforming levels are honestly a little too long for my liking. But there's not a whole lot of them, so I guess that makes up for it a little bit. It's kind of imprecise at times, depending on your camera angle. It works well enough, but sometimes you just overshoot or undershoot a platform due to bad depth perception. At a time when, and this is a time when that should have been common knowledge for game developers, so as a result you play the same parts over and over again. Thankfully there's lots of checkpoints, but if you lose all your lives you have to do the whole level over again.
Here goes.
Even the character will sometimes just be like, "Oh no, not again."
Not again.
Like, even they're sick of it. This certainly causes for unfair deaths, but I'm not convinced it's a bad game quite yet. The game over sequence is kind of creepy, and unless you're really good at stuff like this, you're gonna see that a lot. After the first seemingly endless level, you collect a crystal. It honestly reminds me of the crystals you collect in Crash Bandicoot, as if that's any surprise at this point. After the entrance, you go to the sea. The sea is a lot different in gameplay, and oh geez, it's a water level. I don't even see the point in picking a character for this level because you'll just be a dolphin the whole time regardless. But I don't come to games like this in search of common sense. It's not as terrible as you'd think a water level would be. It's pretty much just control the forever moving dolphin without killing it. It's simple but not super hard like the platformer stages. I beat this one in one shot, so that's fine by me. Echo the dolphin, eat your heart out. The next level is the forest. It's pretty straightforward, not surprising there. Some trees have this weird force field that hurts you between them for some reason. I'm not sure what that's about. The unfair deaths still don't stop though, thank goodness. Jump through stones in the water and hop on this dam, and avoid the never-ending array of random falling logs on the hill. There's also a lot more of those bad combat segments in there, in their wonderful, glitchy, nonsensical glory. When you get to the treetops, though, that's where it hits the fan. I'll admit, even at this point, I'm still not sold on this being a bad game like the critics say, but holy cow, this is frustrating. The platforming has to be 100% precise, or they'll just be like, no, too bad, you go back to the lower part. Or, no, heck, you die. It took me a lot of tries to beat this level, and I mean a lot. Now, you know what, I did it, I beat it, got the Crash Bandicoot gem, and made it to the next level, the swamp. The swamp is basically the same idea as the sea, only instead of a dolphin, you're a dragonfly, but it controls exactly the same, and it's the same idea. These are fine, it breaks up the anger that builds up between the frustrating platforming, so hey, I welcome it. Next up is the garden, and for some reason it's the obligatory ice theme level of the game. But it's here in its aggravating platforming glory. Fun, slip slide into your death and whatnot. You even get to become a bear and kill Scuba Steve. At least that's a high point, I guess. Randomly jump between non-wintry trees for some reason, even though levels can't keep up with it, I guess. Onto the obligatory industrial setting. Did I mention that these levels are a tad bit too long for my taste? This one's probably one of the shorter ones, too. After that, you go to the dark, where you get to be a bat. It's the same as the dragon flying dolphin stages. Again, super easy. Really nothing to say here. Bats. The last full level is after this, the city. And oh man, this level's hard. My total playtime capturing this footage was about 3 hours, a little more. And this level alone consumed over half of that playtime, which should give you a general idea. Lots of cheap deaths and tough jumps, and honestly, it's not an insanely long level, it's just hard. Like, yeah, sure, it's long, but it's more so just a brutal game. I guess taking after Crash Bandicoot in its difficulty, but amplifying it and making it unfair on top of it. The industrial part alone for the first half took well over an hour to do, and beating that feels like one of my greatest accomplishments in gaming. After that is the actual city part. Random tentacles and magma and all. This part's actually not quite as bad, thanks to the industrial part making me into the master. After that is a small construction site part, which yeah, it's tough, but it's a lot more doable. Collect the Crash Bandicoot gem and you're ready for the finale. The finale isn't much of a stage. There's a small amount of platforming, but it's super short, leading to the final boss of the game. The final boss is this guy with swords that looks like he came out of a Doom game as opposed to an Animorphs game. The platform around him often lowers, which kills you immediately if you're on it. The boss fight's very unfair, and honestly, it makes no sense. I did several attempts on this and kind of figured it out, but honestly, I couldn't beat this guy. Design a better boss next time. Animorphs Shattered Reality is a tough time. Honestly, some of the unfairness was revoked, and the last boss wasn't absolutely stupid. I'd go as far as to say it's a good game. Maybe even a hidden gem. As it stands now with the flaws, it's a decent game. I think it's better than the reviews said it was, and it's definitely worth giving a shot if that's your kind of thing, if you're into like the platformers, or you're somehow a diehard Animorphs fan, whichever. It definitely tops the Game Boy Color one. Just, if you do get it, be prepared for a big time challenge. It's tough. It had potential, and it was almost a great game. Anyways, thanks a ton for watching. If you dig it, then hit that like and subscribe for more videos of all sorts. Have a great day, and I'll catch you later.